Hey, what's going on, guys? It is time to talk about another flashlight. Now this one's making its way around YouTube. This one is the brand new Thrunite TH10. This is their first headlamp. As soon as I saw that they were coming out with one, I had to try it out. I'll give you the quick history with me at Headlamps. When I met my wife, Christina, we're into a lot of the same stuff. You know, I'm into it a little bit more than she is, but it's still cool that she loves gear and knives and flashlights and all that kind of stuff. And she tried to convert me into being a headlamp guy because we went camping a couple times together, and I had a crap load of my flashlights, but of course I was always holding them, and oftentimes I would end up putting it like in my mouth to be hands-free, or I kind of, you know, have it tucked between my my chin and my chest. And she'd kind of laugh and say, "Why don't you get a headlamp? You know, obviously you're into flashlights, try out a headlamp." Like, nope, don't like them. I've had Petzl headlamps that they work fine before. I've had a 4.7s brand headlamp, and I didn't like them. And to be honest, once we started camping and stuff together, I started liking the idea of maybe getting one. I ended up getting that Olight, the Wave, which was a very cool thing. Definitely more of a dedicated headlamp in that it had like a, you know, long wire and a huge battery pack. And I love that thing, and I actually use it. I keep it in my car for like an emergency light. And I broke it out a few times, once to help my dad do some work on his Jeep. He had to fix something, the motor in the rear window, and you know, he needed the light. He thought it was very cool. So they do come in handy, obviously. Ever since the Olight, I have to say I'm pretty much converted. I understand the idea of a headlamp being extremely useful. So I'm open these days to trying new ones. Now when I saw Thrunite was coming out with one, I knew I had to try it because I'm a huge fan of Thrunite stuff in general. They also came out with a brand new pen light, which I ended up ordering a couple days ago on Amazon. I ordered the Thrunite one, as well as a couple other ones, because I want to get into some more pen light reviews. Also very useful for an EDC item. Not everyone's into the larger, chunkier flashlights. Pen lights are very popular, obviously because of their small size. So you guys will see stuff like that in the future. But anyway, more on this one, instead of me rambling. Yes, I just wanted to try it out. Thrunite is stepped up to the plate here and put out a headlamp, so I had to give it a go. Now, what's interesting about this one is that this is an 18650 headlamp. Okay, also, obviously, if it holds an 18650, then it's also going to hold two CR123s or CR123As, the rechargeable ones. So my first concern with the design is it going to be too heavy? I like the way they did this layout. Instead of doing the battery like on a pack on the side of the band or something, they kept it all one contained unit. It is, you know, like a rubber housing here. All right, so you can slip this off. There's kind of grooves cut in, so it sits in place where it's supposed to. But if you wanted to detach the flashlight portion of this light from the headband, you certainly can just use it, you know, as a, you know, in-hands type flashlight. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so the design, it's a little hefty. It's definitely heavier than some other lights, but the capability is much more because of the battery source. So it's a give and take, not the lightest headlamp, not the heaviest by any means either. But it did hold very comfortably on the head. Now the first thing I noticed when I got this is that with the adjustment straps, you can see that there's tags here, okay? Now when you first get it, obviously it's going to be at its largest size, but this is a very elastic, stretchy material, and especially with the little bit more of a heft up front here, if you don't have this pretty snug on your head, it's going to move around too much. So the first thing I did was I adjusted it to my head size, and I had this tag, and I thought, well, man, this kind of stinks that it's on the inside. Now, this is before I didn't put it on my head yet. You know what I mean? This is just my assumption of what might be good or not good. Okay, and again, that's why you got to use your gear to figure out what is good and what's not good. But I ended up, you know, realizing that it should be on the inside. Now, my original thought was, you know, this is maybe backwards. These extra tags should be on the outside so that it's more comfortable on your head. But the fact that once you adjust this, you do have these extra tags. You do want it on the inside of your head because it keeps it nice and firm against your head instead of something flapping around to get caught on stuff. And I very soon found out that it was still very comfortable even like that. Okay, so, you know, the reason I'm telling you guys that is because sometimes you make assumptions on gear until you actually use it. Alright, so I want to give you this top view here, okay? This is an aerial view down. Or actually, you know what? Let me give you a side view. This is better. Now, you can see the design here. You just have basically this flashlight sitting in these rubber rings, okay? There's knurling on both sides here. Okay, so to adjust the angle, you're literally just going to be turning it almost like a knob on like a microscope or something. All right, and that will adjust this from all the way down to all the way up. Now, as far as headlamps are concerned, I think it's huge to be able to get this to point straight up. And the reason being is that a lot of times you might be using a headlamp around the house if the power goes out, okay? To put a flashlight straight up in the air, you can literally walk around a pitch black home with the headlamp on and the light pointing up, and you'll have light everywhere you go because it's going to reflect off the ceiling, and whatever room you're going to go into, it's going to illuminate the entire room. Okay, this is huge. This is something that Christina pointed out to me when we first met. Again, how much she loved her headlamps and the capability that it has. When the power goes out, instead of having certain flashlights in certain rooms that are stationary, giving light to the room, the light literally follows you wherever you go. Okay, absolutely awesome. In fact, I might do a video in the future just demonstrating that. But yeah, as far as angling the light, very easy to do. The one side here is where you're going to unscrew this completely, and that's going to give you access to your battery compartment. Again, running on one 18650 here. All right, so let's get into some of the features and functions of this flashlight. If we look into the business end here, I always like zooming in because you get a better, crisper shot here. You can see that nice, thick orange peel. Okay, that's going to disperse that light all around. Our LED for this model is a Cree XML2. Okay, something we're very familiar with. This one is the neutral white version. I'm not sure if there's going to be a cool white or if there's one available yet. I just happened to pick up the neutral white one. As far as the modes here, the buttons on the top, in the off position, if you hold down a long hold, it'll turn on your lowest light mode, which is the Firefly mode. Okay, this is going to be a 0.2 lumen output for 65-day runtime. I keep saying it, but one of these days we will be testing that and making sure that's accurate, or at least close to it. In the off position, if you do a quick double click, that'll turn you right into your turbo mode, which is 750 lumens. That's our highest output here. Okay, from your turbo mode, if you double click again, then you're going to go right into the SOS mode. Okay, SOS is something that I never really care to have in my flashlight, but I do understand that this is a headlamp and it is mostly used for camping or outdoor situations, so I understand the need to put the SOS in there. Again, just for emergency purposes, if you do, go trekking or hiking way out in the middle of nowhere and you happen to get lost, you're really in trouble, it'd be really nice to have a hands-free SOS mode. Now, for daily use and practical use, SOS means nothing to me. Strobe, however, I see its defensive capability. SOS, not so much, but again, considering this is a headlamp, a lot of people are going to use this for camping and hiking, so not a bad idea to have it in there just in case. Now, as far as the other three modes, once you turn the light on, just a simple click to turn on. You're going to do a long hold and it's going to cycle through low, medium, and high. Okay, so low, medium, high. The low mode here is going to be 11 lumens and you get 107 hour runtime. The medium mode is 172 lumens for 9 hours, and the high is going to be 490 lumens for 3 hours of runtime. Okay. So far in using this light, I always like the most capability it has, so I'll go right into the turbo mode every single time. 750 lumens is a heck of a lot of light. You should get most of the stuff done that you need to get done. I will do some beam shots outside later. This light has a good amount of spill, but it does focus in quite a bit to be a spotlight. All right, so you do get a little bit more focus with this particular setup here, which is very nice. As far as price on this, $40 is an awesome price for a decent headlamp. Again, looking at the bare bones of things, it's what am I getting, what is it, how many lumens, and how much is it going to cost me. So in this case, you get a very good high quality. I mean, this is all the Type 3 anodized aluminum. A lot of the headlamps these days are plastic, kind of chintzy battery, portions of it. Not to say that they don't work. Obviously, they work fine for lots of people, and they're nice and light. The toss-up here is you're going to get quality. You can probably slam this against the wall and it'll still work, but you are going to get more weight because of that. So that's the balance here. Is it's heavier, much more durable. Okay, for $40 though, again, having, let's see, there's modes. There's the Firefly, which is 4, the Turbo, which is 5, and the SOS. So there's 6 modes total. A lot of capability here. 750 lumens on the max output for $40. That's a damn good deal if you ask me. So I do like it. The only downside at all is the fact that it's a heavier headlamp. That's pretty much it. Besides that, I don't see any kind of downsides for that price tag. It's very hard to beat. All right, so since we are talking about weight, let's get an official weight so you guys know exactly how heavy this thing is. Because again, that's the only downside, is its heft, in my opinion. And that is looking like 5.8 ounces. All right, again, the strap doesn't weigh much, but I'm going to try to keep it all on here since it is all on your head. Yeah. There we go. Alright. Now it's looking like 6.2. Let's give that another shot. 6.26 ounces. I'm going to zoom in there and show you that. You guys can kind of see. I'm obviously touching it now, but yeah, a little over 6 ounces. All right, so that is certainly not light by any means, considering that there's some headlamps out there in the 2 to 3 ounce range. So that's really the only downside, is the extra weight. And knowing what Thrunite's history is with their models, and they actually listen to their customer base, I would be making a fair assessment, a fair assumption that they're probably going to come out with a single AA version of this, if not a single AAA version of this. So that will definitely bring the weight down. Of course, the lumens will suffer a little bit, obviously because of the battery source. But for the people who are really into the ultra lightweight stuff and gear, that might appeal to them a little bit more. I actually would, even if there was a lighter version, like a AA version sounds cool, because obviously AA's are very accessible and easy to find and replace and all that. But I like the capability. I like the extra light. There's plenty of very light, somewhat bright flashlights, headlamps. I don't really want that. That already exists. I got excited for this one because it's a heavy duty, extremely bright headlamp. That's where its appeal is for me, and the price is still extremely reasonable at 40 bucks. So I'm a fan of it. Very excited to see what they come out in the future. Now they're expanding, their different models. So very cool. All right, guys. So we made it outside here for some beam shots. I'm just going to get right into the 750 lumen mode, that high output. All right. So again, using the bench for the benchmark. Now in person, there is definitely more spill than you're seeing. It's kind of looking like it's more of a spotlight than it is an area light, but I assure you in person there's a lot more spill than what we're seeing here. But as I pan all the way left to right, very visible. Obviously the advantage of being hands-free is nice. When I go to headlamps and try them out for a little bit and then go back to traditional flashlights, I'm always feeling a little bit like I'm missing out, that I have to hold the light again. But the obvious advantage of a headlamp is the hands-free capability. Let's change the modes here, holding the button down. In low mode, you guys aren't seeing much, but in person I can still see that bench. I just don't have much detail at all. Bump it up to medium, and that's when you guys are starting to see it, but for me, I can still see the yard very clearly. Alright, so let's go back to that high mode here. Yeah, I like the light. It's nice. 750 lumens is definitely capable of most chores, I would say, and even if I kind of pan up a little bit, you can look up into the trees. It does work nice as a spotlight as well. If you really need to just kind of focus on one little area, it does a good job at that, but it's still a lot of area light as well. It's a little bit hard to pick up on that. If you guys look, like right now I'm focusing again on the bench, but at the bottom of your screen where the driveway ends and the yard starts, you can still see the leaves and everything pretty clear. So it does have more spill than the video is really showing. But I'd like to do these beam shots every now and then in reviews, just to give you like a general idea what it's like. You'll never quite get the full effect unless you're in person. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have an awesome day. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.